Welcome to WildHER Wisdom, the podcast where bold meets brilliant and wisdom gets a little wild. Join Shelley and Mary as they dive deep into real conversations about life, leadership, creativity, and everything in between. We're here to spark laughter, light up inspiration, and celebrate the wild and wise woman inside you. Whether you're chasing dreams, finding your balance, or just in need of a good laugh, you are right where you belong. Let's jump into today's journey together. This is WildHER Wisdom.
All right, WildHER listeners, we are back again for our second episode in season 3. If you didn't catch our first one, remember, we have a new voice behind the mic, my new co-host, Mary Gaida, who is bringing all of the good energy and a lot of talent to the WildHER world. Mary, thanks again for saying yes to this opportunity.
So happy to be here.
So you are the master of getting amazing guests lined up, and you have someone lined up for us that I am personally very excited about, but I want you to do the honors of introducing her because you did all the legwork, but then I'm going to have a lot of questions as we go on.
Fine by me. Well, Lori Nelson Spewman is the author of the novel The Life List, which was adapted into a Netflix movie of the same name. And we are so lucky to have her on the podcast today. Hi, Lori.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Shelley. Thank you for hosting me today.
Oh my gosh, you're like a superstar. I'm so excited you're here.
That's so funny. Thank you. I am not a superstar, but I appreciate being here.
You are to us. Lori, we've known about the book for a while. We both just watched the movie. I texted Shelley, hey, have you seen this? So first off, congratulations. And we're happy you took some time to share your wisdom with us today. We do have some real talk coming up, but we want to talk about the life list first. So for context for anybody listening today, can you share the premise of the book turned movie?
Sure. Thank you for watching the movie. So the premise of the book, I'll stick with the book since that's the one I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
A young woman thinks she has life by the tail. Thinks she's living her best life, and her mother suddenly dies. And rather than inheriting her mother's company, which she expected to do, her mother has left her the life list that the young woman wrote when she was 13 years old. So it's a lot of simple goals that she has no interest in completing. But in order to get her inheritance, she has to finish the goals.
I have to tell you, I watched this one day. I happened to be home, and Mary said, you got to watch this movie. And I am a huge bibliophile, and I am going to read your book. I have a stack of this many books I'm going to read, but I started with that because I knew you were coming on. But it's such an inspiring story when you're thinking about self-discovery and second chances. What inspired you to write this story?
So the inspiration actually came from my own life list. I was a teacher in the Lansing School District, and it was in October when I was cleaning out a closet, and I came across this little piece of paper that I had written when I was somewhere between 12 and 14, based on the goals. Anyway, I looked at this list and I thought, have my goals evolved? Are these just silly goals, or have I settled and not really reached my childhood wishes? So, like I said, it was October and I had been writing, but I was not published. But this story came to me like, what if there was a young woman who had to complete her life list? Anyway, the story just would not let up. I kept thinking about it over the weekend, and it was evolving. And then I sat down and wrote it. I started writing it before school and after school and weekends. And it just really came quickly and joyfully, which is not always the case.
I've talked to other authors who've had the same experience where it's all of the sudden the story's just pouring out of you. Like, how long did it take you to write it, particularly if you were also working full time?
Well, it took me I started in October and I had a draft finished by Christmas, which for me is record time. I actually thought something was wrong with my word count on my computer because it was just, the words were just tumbling out. So that was kind of magical, to be honest. I love that. But then I slowed down and took a good solid year of uh, revising it and polishing it up, and then sending it to agents that you hope will represent you.
Did you know you were really just onto something as it was pouring out?
You know, it's funny, Mary, because you kind of think I like this, but you never know because you're so close to it. There's constant second guessing, like this is just ridiculous. This is so stupid. No one's gonna, my mother will read it, but nobody else will. Am I just wasting time? I could be doing more productive things. So there's a lot of that. But I gave it to my mom at Christmas. She was going down south, my parents. So I had it bound and I just said, take this with you. You know, my mom was a big reader. And she left a message on my voicemail a week or two later. And she said, I love your book. I think this one's going to get published. And I remember keeping that on they were answering machines back then. I just would not erase that message. And every time I would feel bad or get a rejection letter, I would play her message like, I think this is going to be published.
Interesting as women how we like second guess ourselves like that. Like, is anybody gonna like this besides my mom?
So true. We are our own worst enemies so many times. Yeah, just always feeling like we're not worthy, I guess, or good enough, which is ridiculous.
It is, isn't it? How much of your real life did you put into the book? How much of your own experiences and past did you include, and how much did you fabricate?
That's a good question. I used quite a few of the goals that were on my list, which were different. Some of them were the same as the ones in the movie. I think the movie is more current and it's more lighthearted. It was a happier, more fun, I think, journey. In my book, she has to do some really hard things. And I remember my sister reading the book and saying, you're really mean to that character. It was just really, it was a struggle. Everything was a struggle, but then it was, she learned from it and she grew. From my life list, I had a dog and a horse on mine, which in the book she had to get both of those. Having children, which I always thought when I wrote that list, I was a young girl, I thought for sure I would have kids, but in reality, I never did. I'm a stepmother. Let's see, she wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher. So quite a few things. Kiss Nick Nickel. Nick Nickel was my first kiss. I put that in the book. It was fun, kind of like putting little names in there, like using my parents' names at different times and things like that. So
Nice.
my grandkids.
It's interesting, as I said, I'm an avid reader. I'm always reading multiple books at a time. And the book is always better than the movie, right? Like that's just the reality of the way these things go. But how did you get a movie out of your book?
You mean, how did I get the deal?
Yeah, how did that happen? Like,
Yeah. So that is all credit to my fabulous agent, Jenny Bent. She is, when you're writing, especially before you're published, you just hope anyone is willing to validate this little piece of work and you'd sell it for $2 just to get it out there. So she sold it, and then very quickly, as soon as it was being sold, she was selling foreign rights, which I had no idea and that wasn't on my life list or even on my, it was beyond my dreams. And then before the book was even published, so after it sold, it took about a year of editing and it goes into the queue and they design a cover and all of this. So before the book was published, we had a film deal. And that, again, that's all because of her. She has film agents that she works with. And so, yeah, Fox 2000 bought it way back in 2013. So they
oh,
buy, and they buy it for 18 months. So they've got that, it's called the option. So they have 18 months that they can either start making the movie or just reserve the rights to it. At the end of 18 months, they can either renew for another 18 months or they can say, we're making the movie, or they can pass. So they renewed for another 18 months. And then the producer left Fox 2000, and everything just kind of dwindled away. And then Germany, the book was a big hit in Germany. So Germany bought the film rights. So it was many, many iterations before finally it landed back with Netflix.
So
That's
you
a
have this,
fascinating story.
yeah, this labor of love really come to life over all of these years. And as you've mentioned, you know, some things are changed from book to movie. You lose some
Yes.
of what you wrote and put your heart into. How does that feel? Is that hard to sort of let go, and let them do what they want, but you still own it? It's still part of your heart?
Yeah, it a little bit hard, but honestly, I'm not a screenwriter. I've dabbled in it, but I'm certainly not a professional screenwriter. And I knew Adam Brooks's work, and he was very excited about it, and the producer was very excited. So I kind of just backed off and thought, this is my book, their movie. Um, I, he sent me the screenplay. We got on the phone, but mostly I was just praying I would like it. I had this event planned for a bunch of friends to have a watch party before I had ever seen the movie, and I'm thinking this could be really embarrassing if the movie is terrible. But I really loved the movie. I thought he did a great job with it.
That's
Thought he
great
did
to
a
hear.
great
Yeah,
job.
that is such an interesting evolution. And I'm not a novelist. So I was always curious how, the process. So thanks for sharing that. But what advice would you give to aspiring novelists, especially, if they're interested in writing a really emotionally resonant story like your book?
I would say, oh, I have lots of advice. Um, on my website, actually, I have a little link for writers. But one of the things,
Tell us your website, Lori, so we
oh,
know.
it's LoriNelsonSpielman.com.
Okay, perfect.
So the advice for writers, I would say educate yourself as much as you can. Just started reading. I would go to the library and check out books on the craft of writing. I've subscribed to blogs on writing. I still do. I still am learning and reading about writing. I took some fabulous classes at Lansing Community College. Linda Peckham was just a writing guru in the community, and she still is, but she taught a class called Writing the Novel. And I took that multiple times. There weren't very many college students. It was mostly adults who had this dream of writing. So she paired us into writing groups. And so the advice would be really learn your craft, and then you have to persevere, and you can't be too thin-skinned, which is the hardest because there's a lot of rejection. And of course, you think it's a masterpiece after you finish it. So it's hard to hear somebody reject your little work of art, but then you have got to just keep trying and trying and trying. It's a tough business. And
Mhm.
I received hundreds of rejection letters on things that I had written in the past that never have gotten published. So,
Yeah, I follow a lot of authors because I'm nerdy and I love reading. And so I remember James Clear talking about that, like how many rejection letters you get, and you think you have this amazing thing that's going to change the world. And it's like, nope, nope, nope. And his book Atomic Habits is something I probably quote, I don't know, at least once a day, if not more.
At
And
least.
one of at least,
that's
and
great.
one of the things he talks about, like whatever your craft is, and the perseverance, like you said, is commit to doing it every day. So he's like, for me, even if it was writing one page a day,
Mhm.
like I had to write one page a day because that's the only way I was going to get better at doing it
That's
and create that habit.
fantastic. I need to
Mhm.
read that book. I haven't read
Oh,
it.
listen, Lori, if you want to be in a book club together with Atomic Habits, I read it several times a year. It's like one of the
Oh,
books that I really would say like I study more than read because there's some books that you
right.
wanna, keep going back to because you take a little
Yes.
bit more. But I digress. I
Oh,
digress.
that's fantastic. You've inspired me to read it. Yeah.
So we know that's on your list to do,
Yes,
to read
yes.
that book. What's your next project? What can we look for from you?
Well, I've been working on another novel, a couple of them actually. And so what my goal is once I'm settled in here is to really finish those up. And again, it's so interesting, even at this stage in my career, there's no guarantee that they will sell. You just don't know. So I'll send it to my agent and then she'll work her magic, hopefully. And so that's next on the horizon. So,
Well, feel free to share them with us. We'll take a look.
oh, thank you.
I'm always here to read a book, Lori. I'm
Oh,
always
that's
here
so
to read a
great.
book.
I love it.
So I mentioned at the beginning that we do our WildHER no filter finale, but we're not going to just jump right into that. Let's get a little real talk going on before we do
Okay.
that. So the podcast is called WildHER Wisdom. What is one piece of wisdom that you've taken from life so far?
Wow. Uh, I think, I'm a Taurus and I don't give up very easily. And I think that is one piece of wisdom is to persevere. I'm an optimist. I would say that, and humor. I think humor is just really important in getting through life because life is hard.
Yeah.
And without that, it can really drag you down. And then I like to think that I'm kind, and I think attitude is just so important. And the way you approach things can make all the difference, whether you're coming in hot and angry or with a smile. And again, life can be hard. And so why not
Mhm.
try to bring a little light into the world? So,
Right. I love that. One of the other things that I'm studying, and by the way, I'm taking a class at LCC this next semester. I'm taking a philosophy class because I'm studying Stoicism.
oh, that's
And
cool.
oh my gosh,
Wow.
it's so amazing. I love it. So one of the things that Stoicism talks about is like it's supposed to be hard, right? Like life is supposed to be hard because it's all about overcoming and it's all about controlling what's within your control, like you said, like your attitude, the way that you show up, the way that you conduct yourself,
Mhm.
not worrying about external things. Like there's always going to be strife and difficulty in the world, and if that's the only thing you're looking for, that's the only thing you're going to see, that's going to be your experience.
That's
But
really
if
good.
you, yeah, like if you challenge yourself to do hard things, to read, to learn, to push yourself, to find out what you're made of, get a few hundred rejections or whatever you said, like on your book, right? Like in the end, you can really do anything and you know that you can overcome. And so I love that perseverance is one of the things that you said because it resonates like in my soul.
Well, that sounds very cool, that stoicism. And you're right. I think when you come across these hard things and you just keep going or you tackle them, that's what builds as women and anybody, our self-esteem and the feeling of empowerment.
And sometimes, you have to get a little wild and free and make some mistakes to learn and grow. So, Lori, what's the wildest thing you've done in adulthood that might surprise people?
Well, I'm
This can
certainly not
be, this
telling
can
you.
also be,
Honey.
it can be not safe for work. If you want to tell us the not safe for work stuff, Lori, we're all ears too.
Okay, let's see. What is the wildest thing I've ever done in my adulthood?
Mhm. That might surprise some people.
I don't know. Um, I guess it would be some, smoking weed with my, or edibles with my friends and then, skinny dipping in the ocean or something like that.
I love it.
Edibles are legal, people. Okay.
That's
That's
right.
right.
No
That's right.
judgment here.
No judgment from us, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely a judgment-free zone. So if you were to create a new life list today, what would be on it?
Oh my gosh, I feel so lucky because we just moved to this house in Petoskey and I really love it up here. Um, so I feel like that was something on my list for such a long time. I love Northern Michigan and we just bought it. We bought the house almost exactly a year ago. So I think having more time now that we're just up here, like entertaining people, having friends and family around, I would like to actually, I thought that every time I see the Kentucky Derby, I think I want to go to the Derby. That looked like fun. That seems fun. Let's see. I want to start skiing. There's a ski hill up
Ooh.
here. Um, I sound really boring, like I don't have very many goals. I'd like
I
another
think
move.
those sound great.
Okay, thank you. Be a better person. I want to plug into this community and do some volunteer work, and I want this to be. I just had a birthday, and I was sort of thinking about the year that passed and the year to come, and I've been so fortunate uh, that I really want to give back. I want to be more giving.
I think that sounds like a lovely life list. And there's no boring or right or wrong, right? Like it's all perspective and what you've been through. And I think being able to look and say, gosh, I've been so very blessed in this life. And I want to pay some of that forward is a great list. And if you want to talk about boring, Lori, I'm usually in bed by like 8 o'clock every night. Um,
Love
so
you.
so if I said something wild, I'll be like, ooh, I stayed up till 10.
Exactly. Oh, good. Thank you, Shelley, for not shaming me on that.
We think
Yeah.
you're great. And, when we talk about a life list, I think sometimes we build things for ourselves that we really could do if we could find the time or
Mhm.
maybe a little bit of courage. But is there anything that you still long to do in life, but there's something that holds you back and it's fear-based?
I'm sure there is. Well, part of that skiing thing, my back is not great, and I really have this urge to go skiing, but then I'm kind of worried, like if I had a bad fall, would my back be, would it really damage that sort of thing, just as I'm
Mhm.
getting older, just more practical concerns. What else? Yeah, I think fear does hold us back, and I know it does, even just like plugging into the community, meeting people here, you think, what if I'm not accepted? Or what if, everybody has their own friends and they don't want another friend? Or
Yeah,
those
that's
same
so
fears that
real.
were with us when we were little girls.
Absolutely. It's so funny because I was reading a book last night. It's by Gretchen Rubin, and I'm not going to be able to name the exact title because I'm always reading so many books, but it's like the rules of adulthood or something along that line. We'll post it. And it's all these great little anecdotes. And one of the things she talks about is, fitting in and how it's like a section in the book and how, we're all the same in that. And she talks about the Beatles. And I'm not a big Beatles fan, but she talks about Ringo Starr went to Paul McCartney one day and said, I've got to quit the band. The three of you are so close, and I just don't feel like I fit in. And Paul's like, no, I thought it was the three of you.
Oh,
And
wow.
then he goes to one of the other band people and says, I've got to quit the band. I don't feel like I fit in. It's just the three of you. And he said, no, I always thought it was the three of you.
Mhm.
And
Isn't that
so
funny?
yeah,
Yeah,
isn't it fascinating? Like we always think like, oh, we're the odd man out, but like as I've said before, in the words of Mark Manson, you're not special in the best way. Like we're all
right.
struggling with the same things. We all have similar insecurities. And so if we can kind of take a step back and think about that, then sometimes it makes life a little bit more palpable and
It
and
does.
a nicer experience.
I love that, Shelley. Yeah, that's great.
So, Lori, every episode we wrap with the WildHER no filter finale. We call a quick fire challenge where you just answer
Okay.
with the first thing that pops to your mind.
Okay.
It's just fun, it's fierce, it's honest. Some are playful, some can be powerful. It can be whatever you want. You can ask us a question back. We're game for anything.
Okay, I'll ask you guys the question.
So, to kick it off, what's one word people who know you best would use to describe you?
Nice.
Nice. I like that. No pun intended. All right. You can either say this or you can sing it back to me. Dealer's choice. What's one song that always lifts your mood?
Um, okay, sounds very cliche. the Pharrell Williams Happy is such
I
a
love that
happy song.
song.
There's a lot of songs that touch me deeply, but that one always makes me happy, as it should.
Nice.
I love that. If you could teleport anywhere right now, this very moment, where would you go?
Italy.
Ooh. What's a guilty pleasure you're not even guilty about?
Uh, the Real Housewives of whatever city, name the city.
Oh, I love it. Beverly Hills.
Yes, that's one of them. That's one
That's
of
my
yes.
fave.
My husband is a Real Housewives like super fan. Like I'm so busy reading, like I'll sit on the couch next to him reading and he's like,
I love your husband. We're sort of the opposite. I'm sort of, my husband's reading something, cerebral, and I'm glued to the TV with Bravo.
Hey, I love Bravo. We all need a brain break and to kind of not really think too deeply sometimes. And these ladies are just having fun and you get to pretend it's like playing Barbies for adults, right? They're all dressed up.
Yes, exactly. I love that.
Yeah. What's one boundary you've recently set and felt empowered by?
Not to accept an invitation with somebody that wasn't bringing me joy. How's that?
yes, that is deep. Now, this one is one that I'm really going to be tuned into. What book is on your nightstand?
It's called Care and Feeding by Lori WildHER, WOOLEVER. It's a memoir, which I usually totally fiction, but it's really good. She worked in the restaurant industry and has a lot of dirt to dish, which I love. And she also worked for Anthony Bourdain. And
Oh,
did you ever
wow.
watch his? Yeah, he's so great.
Yes.
So it's really good. I'm almost finished.
And what are you wild about right now? What just gets you going?
Oh, springtime. I
Yes.
love just the walking outside and the air is fresh and the flowers are just starting to, pop and the leaves. Yeah.
It's a real feeling of freedom, isn't it? Just
It
when
really
everything's
is.
just kind of humming and coming back to life, really. That's what makes Michigan so special, really.
It
And just
really
kind of
does.
comes back to life. We're coming out of that hibernation. It feels good.
It does.
Yes.
It's such a hopeful season. Yeah.
It is. Lori, thank you so much for taking the time to be on our podcast. It has been so wonderful having you here. I hope that we get to meet you in person one day. Maybe Mary and I will do a road trip to Petoskey.
Oh, that would
because
be so fun.
it is
I
a
love it.
beautiful place. And if you're ever in our area, we'd love for you to come see us as well.
I would love that, and I will. Are you in Lansing then?
We're in the Lansing area. Yep.
Yes, the Lansing area. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love Lansing. I lived there almost my entire life. So, you guys, this has been so much fun. You're both so warm and easy to talk to and fun. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, listeners, for taking time with Mary and I and Lori today. As always, make sure that you follow us on social media, check out our blog, and just see what we're up to. You never know what's going to happen next.
Stay wild.
Thank you, listeners.
And just like that, beautiful soul, we have wrapped up another episode of WildHER Wisdom. But don't let the journey end here. Come connect with us. Follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, and visit wildherwisdom.com to catch up on episodes, grab extra inspiration, and stay part of our WildHER community. And remember, the conversations here are for your inspiration and empowerment, not professional, medical, or therapeutic advice. Trust yourself and reach out to qualified pros when you need to. Until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and keep living your WildHER life. You are powerful, you are wise, and you are absolutely unstoppable.